Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning to everyone in the United Kingdom. As usual, welcome to the Drive Time. Get that right again. The Drive Time live session, and it is with Lakhi Singh, the property and business fixer, and the alternative business and property solutions community. Unfortunately, Lakhi Singh is not able to join us this morning for various reasons, but we do have a lovely guest, Kath Locke, I think is her name, if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, she will correct me. And she's actually of the final 6 in this, the one competition, I think, that was being run in Teesside. I think we had a lovely young lady by the name, what was her name? Yeah, we had the lovely Sarah Brown on. We thought she was a hot contender. I think she was in the last 10, but now we're down to the last 6. And out of that, we have got Kath Locke, who is the last contestant of the last 6. So the topic for this weekend is, for the whole week was, if someone said you can't do it, don't do it once, do it twice and take a picture. So it actually falls in very nicely with the way the one competition has gone. We've got the last 6, so obviously these people are of the best. And we've got a saying of the weekend, which is slightly contradiction to that saying, and that is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. We've got to work out if Kath Locke is the smartest person in the room, and is she now in the wrong room with the last 6, and should she be in another room, or is it that this is really about, the best of the best, and it's actually a competition where they've whittled down the best of the best. So without further ado, to keep the conversation interesting, I don't start rambling on. Let's have Kath Locke, and she's waiting. Is she backstage? She is. Right. Okay. Can we have her on? Let's talk to the lovely
Hello. Kath. Hi. Thanks for having me on.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you.
So it's I'm excellent. It's lovely to hear you. And because we had Sarah Brown on for a couple of shows, and she's been knocked out, has she?
Yeah, she has. Unfortunately, Sarah worked hard throughout the competition, and she dedicated everything.
Enough. Well,
it was a difficult task. Yeah. She was in my team.
Was she in okay.
Yeah, she was in my team initially when she come on the show, so I watched Sarah on the show, and we were split up and put into different teams, but we're still in contact and believe that we've become friends from it. So yeah, she was really good throughout the competition. It's one of them things. It's difficult. Some of the tasks play on different people's strengths, don't they? And obviously you put into teams, and then you're taken out and putting in different teams. So
yeah, and I believe she probably, my bad guess is, she fell through the cracks because of possibly of her lack of experience. And you're probably, I've been told you've got an NHS background, so you're like is it an occupational therapist or something? Is that right?
Yeah.
So you're used to the discipline that the NHS has in terms of working with teams and working with patients and clients and having that ability to assess things. So you've got a lot of life experiences that are probably that difference. Is that the difference between you and her, or is it something else as well?
I don't know if that's the difference. I can't really comment on Sarah's life experience because I've only just met her in this competition. So we all draw on our life experience, and you're right in saying that I've used that in the competition, but I can't really comment on what Sarah's used and where she's got her life experience from. So, but yeah, I've worked throughout the competition, put 100% into it, everything that I've done, been dedicated and committed, and it's got me to this stage. So just continuing to do that, keep pushing, And I thought it was interesting to say that you were saying about, you know, if people tell you that you can't do something, you want to do it all the more, because that is a lot of what I've heard, especially when I first come into this competition and people said to me, 5,000 applications, how you're not going to get chosen from there was 5,000 applications across the country. And then it was a application process, like a written application process to get into the top 100. So that straight away, I had people saying, oh, you know, you're going to get everyone entering. Do you think you're going to get through? And I'm looking at me now, top 6. And
why do you think people are like that, Kath? Why do you think people are like that? Are they transmitting their own insecurities, or is it that they, I don't know, they maybe are very half glass empty type of people? What's the reason? What do you think?
I think there's different reasons. Maybe there is that half, like glass half empty, and then some people maybe don't want you to set yourself up to fail, and maybe they're thinking, oh, they're being protective by kind of giving you that doubt, but actually it doesn't help. But I like to be positive.
But there is a positive side to what you're saying. There is a positive side to being exceptionally pessimistic. So it is actually a caring, protective side. Is that right?
Yeah. I think some people, that's the angle that some people come from. Yeah. Not all. So, I've just had this morning in some of the groups that I've posted in, you know, people commenting back saying it's a con, very negative comments even at this stage.
That's really bad, isn't it? Isn't that really sort of, isn't that really sort of, doesn't it, but what does it do when you hear negative comments about something that you know is perfectly normal? What does it make you angry? Does it
No, to be honest, I've learned, I think, does that person's opinion have an impact on my life? No, probably not. They're entitled to their opinion and it doesn't really matter to me. So to be honest, I don't really have any feelings or negativity towards it. I did comment back this morning on one of the posts just because I thought, have I give people enough information here? That was literally the reason why. So they commented to say it was a con, and I commented back to give them the full information so they could make an informed decision. I then tagged Stephen's YouTube channel so that if they wanted to, they could then go on and get some more information. If people then after that continue to have negative comments, I would not comment back. I wouldn't pay any energy or attention to it. As long as
don't you find social media is full of people who are very, I'd say, polarized? I think they're either totally woo, you know, and you go, Kath, go type of thing. We've got a lovely comment from who's the comment from? Pam?
That's my mom. That's my mom, yeah.
Right, okay, so your mom's doing it woo to you, and then you got people who are saying, right, it's all a con.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, I'm not going to get into too much detail into that. I'm just trying to work out, haven't we become a bit of a voyeuristic society in the sense that we don't know enough, but we're quick to comment without knowing? Isn't that what we've become? Whereas in the good old days, you'd have to read a newspaper, get the information, the article, understand if we really wanted to make a comment. Otherwise, we'd be better placed being ignorant rather than make a comment. Isn't it better not to make a comment if you're ignorant?
Yeah, I totally agree. I always live by, if you haven't got anything nice to say and it's not going to benefit anybody, then keep it to yourself and don't put that comment out there. But I will say I've had absolutely amazing support throughout this competition, not just from my family and close friends, but my Facebook friends, and then beyond that, my local community, friends of friends. I'm getting so many nice, really lovely messages of support and sharing my posts. So there is a lot of nice things out there and a lot of things people are supporting me. But then you do always get, I'd say, a small percentage of negativity. And as long as you don't give that any energy or let it affect your day, then.
Well, look, I am probably the least social media friendly, because I don't really use it that much. I'm sort of don't really think I pay attention to it. So, because I've seen that it can be quite hurtful to people to read comments about themselves, which in normal circumstances, in the day-to-day routine, if you were working with a group of people and somebody didn't like you, they probably wouldn't say as much as they would say on social media, because they'd have to hold that negative feeling back in their heart. They wouldn't be able to make negative comments because they wouldn't really have the proof. And social media makes it easy for people to just say things. And I find that it tests the best of you. And like you said, you've got a way of handling it. You like to give people informed choices. You like to give them the information. And even if they still come out with negative comments, you're saying, well, then you'd ignore them. But I mean,
but it's not as easy for everyone. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So people like your mom probably is more affected by it than you do.
Yeah, well, I've got my daughter's nearly 14, and that is something that I worry about. I think she's coming to that age where she's using social media, she's at school, and at that age, it's a lot more difficult to have the attitude of, I'm not going to let these comments bother me.
But isn't this like a mini celebrity status type of thing that we're all playing out? A bit of voyeurism, a bit of the Big Brother thing is now become part of this. We like to watch everyone else's life, what everyone else is doing. And then you've got the bit about, being a celebrity. Because, if you look at what celebrities try to do, I mean, the type of rubbish they have to read about themselves sometimes, which is rubbish. And they have to accept getting up in the morning, being thick-skinned about it, brushing it off. And I can tell you, if I heard negative comments about myself, I think I'd be affected. I actually genuinely feel, I'm being honest with you, I think I'm quite a manly man, but I'd be affected by it. And I think it's really a sign of the times, isn't it? You're a bit like a celebrity at the moment, aren't you?
Nobody should have to go through that, should there? Nobody should have to go through that. And it's not, I've heard comments that say, oh, well, they've put themselves out there, they've put themselves in the public eye,
exactly,
so they have to
the point I was going to make.
And that is a terrible comment to make. Nobody, it doesn't matter what you do, should have to be subjected to comments like that. And the fact that people say, oh, well, they knew what they were getting into, like that's not good enough.
That's the point. Okay, now you're going to the next point, isn't it? Because that's the argument people give to celebrities. They say, well, you want to be, paparazzis all around town. I mean, and we can talk particularly about the Square Mile in London, because that's where it's all happening, right? That's where you get all the, the royal family and the celebrities all get together every evening. So, I mean, Lakhi Singh's rubbed shoulders with these people. So he gets to see it really live. And we get lots of gossip and information back from people. But, it's not a nice thing. It's not an earthy thing. It's not a positive thing. And it just shows the extent that a person can be evil. Because it is really evil just to say things about people off the cuff, without the information. And in some respects, you can say it's pure ignorance. I think the best comment you can say is pure ignorance. And if you look at it in its real form, it's pure evil to say things about people, to hurt them. Because some people just trying to drag you down. Yes?
Yeah, it's cruel, and it is like, live by that. Don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, unless it's obviously constructive and beneficial.
Excellent. So we've covered the negative bit, and the saying of this week is, if somebody says you can't do it twice and then take pictures, which is a bit of a psychological battling in terms of, I told you so, here I am. And for some people it is that, it's about payback. You said this about me, where am I now?
Use it as motivation. So don't let it
right.
bring you down. Use it as motivation to push yourself further. Is that what you're saying?
I'm also practicing and so I will practice the fact you said motivation. Is that right?
Motivation, yeah. That's what
Motivation.
I
like no.
Use it as your motivation.
More. You've got 4 hearts already. Wow, that's good. We've only just started. Obviously, we've got a lot of love coming through this morning for you. Okay, tell me then. Okay, let's go through how many stages there were in the competition. What you had to do. What was your business? Because I remember Sarah came on and we gave her, she wanted a bit of advice. I actually remember having the conversation with her and giving her a bit of I said, this is a business model you could apply. Lockdown's happening. People are frustrated. They're all going to want to come out and have holidays. Why don't you look at doing, holiday rooms, not holiday homes, but holiday roomlets for people who don't have a large budget, but they want to come out to Teesside, to the seaside, and then at the same time make it into a unique business. Service departments are coming in across the country. It's a new trend. High streets are closing down. A lot of things are happening in the general picture in property. And my input to her was, well, why don't you brand that and make it into holiday rooms and then go into with that as your idea. So what was your idea, Kath? What was your idea?
So I did, going back, I did Stephen's 3-day training in October. Previous to that, I'd done the 1-day introduction. So I did that in October and then totally inspired to go off and straight away set up my own business. So I did that. And then starting off, I purchased my first single buy-to-let property, single let. In December, we got the offer accepted and we got the keys on the 16th of January. So I did a full refurb on that while actually in the initial stages of the competition actually. So I was working and I was obviously a mother and I was doing my property business and refurbing a property whilst also in them initial stages of the competition. So I started off with a single let. So that's where I'm at the moment. I've got one property. And then the competition kind of got a lot more intense as the rounds went on. So I've totally just started focusing on that at the moment. So I've not really done anything with the property, but I kind of see it as at the moment, this is more important. I'm developing my skills, which are going to then benefit me in my business, no matter what the outcome of this competition. I'm working with Stephen now, really, in terms of he's setting us these tasks that are pushing us out of our comfort zone and that are developing our skills. So whether I win or I don't win, I can go back and use the skills that I've learned in the competition and then continue. So going back to your question, so my initial plans are to kind of start off with a couple of single buy-to-lets and then maybe look at a house of multiple occupancy. But I'm also doing my elite with Stephen in September, which is a more in-depth course, and then start to look at like conversions, commercial, residential, and that type of thing. So lots of different options.
Okay, so what do you think is the rather before I ask you the question, say a big shout out. We've got Sonia who's giving you a shout out, and we've got Mandy, who's also an NHS professional. She's obviously in the other side of town for you. She's in the Manchester area, Mancunian, and not from your neck of the woods, but nevertheless has a National Health Service background. She's also a professional. She's a regular listener, so she's obviously said this morning to you, good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
John Smith as well, and a John Smith as well. So you've got all these people giving you lots of love hearts coming through. So tell me, what you've done is standard stuff, isn't it? It's really standard business practice.
Yeah, just starting out.
What made you What do you think was the difference between you and the others then? What got you to the last? What was it that made that difference?
Well, I think I've just literally put everything into it. I've put like determination and a bit of creative thinking as well. I think throughout the rounds, just trying to think outside of the box and think how can I work a little bit differently, which is what Stephen kind of promotes us to do. So I mean, I've done really well so far. Stephen done in the first round, he'd done a wild card for he'd done a YouTube video and asked people to get the most votes within his YouTube video. So that was to go from the 100 to the 12. So I won that public vote initially to get to be the first person to go into the top 12. So I had a little bit of time then when the others were still doing the first task to kind of grow my group that I have on Facebook. So that's really served me well in this round, because I've got over 1,000 people now in the one Kath support group. And I think getting through into the top 12 in that initial round, then I didn't just think, right, I'm through now, I'm going to sit back and relax. I thought, right, well, what can I do? I don't necessarily need to do these tasks because I'm already through. So I'm going to focus on growing my following and growing my Kath the one group. So that's what I did. And then obviously now we're in this round and it's a public vote again. I've already had my following that I've grew in them initial rounds. Plus I've had a lot of support as well in this particular round, the voting one. And then just constantly working, thinking. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Don't worry, I'm still here.
Sorry, it broke up a bit. Sorry.
You're right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think my bad feeling is that there is somebody behind the woman. Who's it who's giving you all of this confidence and support? Somebody there in the background.
I've got a number of people. I wouldn't say there's one person, but at the beginning of the competition, something Stephen did is he asked us to name 10 people that would support us and kind of help us throughout the competition. So I then sort of start to think about who have I got within my support network who can help me and support me. And I will say that all of them people and more have been the people behind the woman, if you like to say. Like there's
excellent, right? Okay, so you've got a whole bunch of people behind. Okay, so who's been okay?
It's teamwork. You need that. It's teamwork. It's working together. I think everybody, if you look at government, even you have a team of advisors, you have a tight team of people. It's you're the kind of main person, but you're not never a standalone. I think.
Well, excuse me, I've got a bit of cough. This goes back to what Lakhi says, that in order to get into property especially, it's very important to have a little power team, people who can give you best advice. Even if you're starting off with a few properties, you need to know that you've got people who've got knowledge. And I think this is one of the things that you've got unique in the property arena or the property sector, where there's a lot of emphasis on people getting knowledge before they enter into property. And I think it has a benefit, because I think you've alluded to the fact that you been on courses with Steve, Steve Mills, is it? What's his name?
Stephen Green. Stephen Green. I've been on one of his I've been on one of his courses and one of his interviews.
That's right. So I think there's a very important message that goes out, that knowledge is definitely important in property. There's an important aspect of property that people don't seem to see, and that is understanding the legals, the building aspect, the potential aspect. And even though property itself is quite a simple business, you get a property, you get a mortgage on it, you take it out, You look at the rental income against the value of the cost of having the mortgage. You say, well, okay, I'm making X for this, but it's not that simple, is it?
No, I was going to say, I don't think it is. I think it's quite complex, really. And if you want to then progress in property, then even more so. I remember somebody said to me, why are you going to pay for training? They said, you can literally just go out, I'll tell you how to do it. And this person, I think, had maybe his one property. And I remember saying to him, I said, I've studied full-time at university for 3 years to be an occupational therapist. Why would I then go into what I want to be my career, my business, without getting any education? Like, that just didn't make sense to me. I think educate yourself before you kind of don't just go and do something without getting the education and the skills first.
I'd also say to you, Kath, but yeah, okay, let's stick to that point. But I also say to you, Kath, there's lots of very ignorant people out there who are property landlords, millionaires, and they haven't done any training. They've just gone out there and bought one property, bought the second, bought the third. They're sitting on a couple of hundred properties now. They're millionaires, and they're running a quite successful property business even in this time.
And some people can and have done that. And I believe there is a lot of information out there that you could maybe find out, but how long would that take you to do that? And would you have to make quite a lot of mistakes before you learn from your mistakes? And so for me, everybody's different. And if you can go out and build your business and build a successful property business without doing any training, then great, go for it. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I just needed that bit of guidance, that bit of education, and I wanted to get things right. And yeah, so, and I've learned.
Yeah, I think, okay, let's take that, that little thought there, and just let's look at that and say, right, okay, perfectly fine. We've got what's the saying of this weekend? What was that? Okay, that's the one. We've got a saying of the weekend. You've got to remember that. We'll forget to tell you that. So the saying for the weekend is, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. So a question to you then, Kath. Do you think you're the smartest out of the 6 of them? Not in an arrogant way, but in a confident way. Not in an arrogant way, but in a confident way. Do you think you're a hot contender? Let's say that. Let's make it softer.
I do.
Let's say, do you think you've got a good chance?
I do. Yeah, I think I've got a good chance. Like I said, I was the first person to go through with the 12. I've also not as of yet, even though I'm in second place on the votes, I've not lost a round. So when I was in Team A, our team were the clear winners in that round. I then went into Team C, which was Team Charlie, with 2 completely different people. And again, we were in the lead. We brought back the most money. That was an investment round. So we were each given £1,000 and asked to go away and in 3 weeks bring back him as much money as he could. And I then won that round. I believe I was the only contestant to bring a celebrity to the panel, which is one of the tasks that you asked for. So I believe I'm in a good position, and I think I've throughout put everything into it and thought outside of the box and continuously changing, adapting.
Okay, so tell me. Okay, let's focus back onto Kath, the occupational therapist.
Yeah.
Where does that go? What are you doing there, and what are you going to be doing in the future? Are you going to drop that? Are you going to keep it as a side affair? Do you think it's time?
My plan is, I've been an occupational therapist for 15 years, and although I've loved my role, I've come to a point where I want a change in my life. I've done it for 15 years. And so now my plan is to focus completely on property. And if I win the one, I've said all along, I will be resigning from my job and focusing, putting 100% into everything and focusing on that. And there'll be aspects of it that I'll miss and helping people. But I'll continue to do that. I can do, you know, I've done quite a lot of charity work, like through this competition and before as well. So I can continue to help people in that way, and help, you know, when I get a lot of, like, when I make it to the £1 million property portfolio, and then I'll have more to give as well. So no, I won't be continuing no roti, hopefully.
I think that's a common theme. Lots of people we've come across that we've had on the show as well, especially. I think it's I don't know if it's unique with women, because we haven't really interviewed lots of variety. We could give you a genuine, honest opinion, but I think of the majority of the women entrepreneurs who are in property, people who are in property of one kind or another, there is an element of giving. And I've been, you know, in business for a while. It's very rare to find people who can associate giving with a business which is about a property. About properties. And the fact that most of the females people who've come onto our show all have this angle about wanting to give, looking at property as more than just a business. It's more of as a you know, you could call it the social welfare and the social worship of people and goodness and kindness. So can I ask you a question then? Have you structured your business over a certain number of years? Are you expecting to be this millionaire property landlady in how many years? What's the plan?
So I have done a plan, but obviously now I'm in this competition to be the one. I base my plan on working, and I base my plan on, you know, kind of having that as a second bit, like a business, but also working. So it was a plan over like a 10-year plan.
10-year, right?
As I've said, like, now that I'm in this competition, and I'm kind of thinking, if I become the one and win, and I leave my property, my occupational therapy role, then that'll have to be reevaluated, because I'll be then working with Stephen Green, who's got all that knowledge, get that personal mentorship, and I'll have like 100% of my time or my working time to put into that.
Excellent. Okay. Next question. You got about 6, so you're number 6, and you got about 6 hearts now. Is it 6 now? Is it more than 6? Right, there you are. We're on the 6 because you're number 6, which is in the last 6. You got 6 hearts. So, how many of the females are there in the last 6? So
there's just me and Natalie. There's 2, so there's 2 of us.
So there's 2.
2 including females, me.
Out of the 6, so there's 4. And how many of these are experienced? Right. So how many experienced property people are there in the competition now?
I don't actually know what the other, if any of the others have got. I'm trying to think.
Something wrong with the internet? Okay, cool. We're all right.
I don't know all of the contestants really well. The couple that I know don't have any properties at the moment, but I've done some training and set up a business and ready to kind of start the business really. And I think that's nice that we're all kind of at the beginning of our journey. We're all kind of at the same point and all really motivated and wanting to kind of learn and move on. So obviously I've only got 1, and I'm not sure there might be a couple that might have 1 or 2, but the others that I speak to and that I've known, they don't have any yet. So it's nice that they're at that starting point and to be shaped and kind of learn from Stephen, whoever wins.
Okay, right. Okay. I'm gonna go to the UK landscape and see where you fall in there. Because do you have knowledge of the UK property market? Sort of like broadly, globally. What do you see what's happening in the UK property market?
Yeah, I am. So I subscribe. Sorry, it's crackling. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Sorry, you kept pausing. Yeah, so I subscribe to a few emails, and I'm in quite a lot of property groups on Facebook and stuff like that. But I try to take my information from sources like on the internet and like through the Property Investment Academy, which is the group that I'm in, that Stephen runs. Because there's quite a lot of contradicting information on these Facebook groups. So you get kind of what I thought was I'm joining kind of a property group on Facebook full of knowledgeable property investors, but then you get these contradicting information. So I've subscribed to a couple of emails from websites, and then I take my information from the Property Investment Academy. Try not to kind of listen to too much of what's just been commented and posted on Facebook. I think there's a lot on YouTube as well. Okay, so
what do you understand of the property market and happening in the UK? What's happening?
It's expensive. It's gone up. It's a bit of a boom at the minute, definitely. So, and that's why I'm not too bothered about kind of focusing my attention on the competition, because that gives it a little bit of time to see what happens. Does it settle down? Like what is going to happen when the stamp duty ends? Like, you know, the exclusion of stamp duty and stuff. So that's probably a positive, that not a positive that it's continuing to be high, but a positive that I've got it this time in this competition to focus on that. And then after the competition finishes, we'll see what happens with the market.
Excellent. Okay. Right. What about Teesside? Tell us a bit about Teesside. What's happening in Teesside then? What is the trend in Teesside, and where are people putting their money? You're obviously working with Steve Mills as a mentor as well. So what are you seeing in Teesside then? What is where the money's at? Where is property investment going in that part of the world? Any investments coming in? Any industrial parks? Any inward investment? Any money being spent by the government there?
So we've got industry coming to like Hartlepool and like red car areas and stuff. So there's been a lot of talk about that and kind of the increase in need for property there. So I have been looking into that, but like I said, I haven't made any moves yet to purchase. But yeah, definitely something that I'm keeping my eye on, the different money that's and the industry that's coming to the area. It's definitely something that a lot of people are jumping on, isn't it?
Excellent. Right. Okay, so tell us a bit about Kath, the lady, the woman, the mother. Tell us a bit about that. Where you started life, where were you? Where did you get, where was the schooling, and where was where does life, so how did you find yourself in the NHS?
I've lived in the kind of the same area my whole life, really. From being a child, with my parents, I lived like literally round the corner. Moved here. I'm married. I've got 2 children. I've got my Mia. She's nearly 14. She's got keen interest in dancing. Mia. Yeah.
She's the eldest. Right? She's 14,
the eldest. Yeah. She'll be 14 in June. And then I've got Archie. He's 10, and he's got keen interest in football. He plays for his local team, and he on children's team, and he he's a little character. He's very funny. Likes to make me laugh. And then my husband's Andrew, and he works away offshore. So he works 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. And that was another reason.
An oil rigger, is he?
He
works on the oil rigs.
He works on the oil rigs, yeah.
Right. Okay.
He was an electrician by background, but he's got a different role now, like a construction supervisor. But Yeah, so that was one of the reasons as well for kind of wanting to get into this business, because he's worked offshore for 10 years and the kids hate it and I hate it and he hates it. So hopefully by, you know, developing our business, that would be an option for him to come home and work from home or work on the business with me.
So do you think he's going to find it difficult working on dry land? Or you think he's going to have like, going to want water around him or something? You think he's going to be able to...
I think he
is he like a natural fish, is he? Or is he more like a...
No, he's more, he went offshore because at the time there was like not much work around where we were. He did well in the job he did have. We were seeing him less than we see him now. He was working like 6-7 days a week, 7 till 7. The kids were like literally going to bed when he got in. Not always, like not late on a Sunday, like 6 days a week. And then he went offshore and he's away for 3 weeks, but then he has 3 weeks at home. But then comes to a point where it's like, I think he's worked away 10 years. So when we work it out, he's away half the time. He spent 5 years on that oil rig. And so when you think of it like that, it's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. That's true.
Yeah.
Do you have, because we've had this conversation with a lot of the different people we've had on, especially, again, I say it's relevant to the person that we've been talking to. It's been male and female. Does your husband have a common interest with you in property, or is it more just that he likes to wire up properties?
He does have an interest. It was kind of my interest at first, and he was a little bit like, oh, shall we kind of look into it a little bit more? And then I went on Stephen's training, and I think I came back with quite a lot of knowledge. So when I started to talk to him about what I'd learned, he then became on board, he come on board, and he's done a lot of the manual work and the refurb and stuff when we were doing the property up. But now he's getting a lot more interest in actually like finding another property, and like so I think in the future it'd be worth like maybe it's him going to do some of the training as well. But obviously with him working away and me being at home, it's different. It's easier for me.
So he'll probably have to. So there's going to be a cutoff where he'll probably leave the rig job and come back to dry land, and you'll both be working.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, tell me then. You've got experience of refurbing. Are you going to end up just doing the same type of thing, or do you think you've got the ability through Steve Mills to pick up?
Stephen Green.
Stephen Green, sorry. I don't know where I got Mills from. Can I get it from somewhere else? Okay, I'm talking about somebody. Okay, Stephen Green. So, do you see yourself sort of like having a balanced portfolio? Are you going to do lots of different type of things, or are you going to concentrate on one particular model of business?
In terms of what a purchase.
When you buy a property, you've had the experience of buying a property, doing it up, and doing it up means it's got more value in it. You fixed it yourself. You bought it in a bad state. You got a certain budget you play with. You don't go over that budget. Are you going to stick to that model, or are you going to have a spread? Like you're going to buy, development projects as well, or you're going to buy maybe, new builds as well, or you're going to look at student accommodation, or are you going to go into HMOs? Are you going to mix and match that property portfolio, or are you sticking to the one model that you find?
No, definitely mix and match. I started off with the single buy-to-let because I thought it's good for experience, so that was kind of why I done it as my first property. And then I have already started to look at HMOs and stuff. I've been to view a property that I was going to convert into a HMO, which was at auction and unfortunately went for more than I was willing to pay for it. But that is something that I'm already looking at. Thought about student accommodation. Obviously, we're just getting over COVID and the students are just getting back. So I've been kind of thinking about when that'll be appropriate to do as well. And then like I said before, commercial and residential, like things like that, flats, they may all be an option.
And we're lucky. We have Lakhi Singh for us. This is going to be like, we're very blessed to have him in. So good morning, Lakhi Singh. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
Yes, sir. So, as we know, it's called Lakhi Singh's Property Fixer, the business property fixer. And we weren't expecting you in today. We were told you had various important meetings with, I think it was Westminster, maybe, with the powers to be. So thank you very much for taking time out after those important meetings. So what?
That's okay. That's a contradiction in terms of Lakhisingh.
I'll tell you what we've got. I'll tell you who we have here. We have somebody who is a bit like a semi-celebrity of Teesside. We used to, remember we spoke to Sarah Brown a few times, who was in the one competition with Steve Green. And we are blessed to have Kath, who is of the last 6. So she's managed to get into the last 6, and Sarah, unfortunately, was dropped. So she got to the last 10, but now she's out. What's Kath in?
Good morning. Good morning. Lakhi, you okay?
Nice to have you, Lakhi Singh. Can you give us a bit of have you been listening to the show at all, Lakhi, or have you just been out to meetings this morning?
Yeah, I've been following on Facebook from Sarah and from Kath, so I've got somewhat of an idea. Even with my busy schedule, managed to still keep up with what's happening in the one.
Excellent. So we've got Kath, who's one of the last 6. And right, any advice you've got for her? Because I know you're a bit of a busy person and a difficult man to get hold of, and you've got lots of depth of experience. Anything you've got as a shout out for Kath, to just give her a bit of a encouragement and also a buck up and a woohoo to say we are going to be looking out for her to win this competition. There's 6 people left, 2 females, 4 guys, and I think they're all new into property. I think that's what Kath says. So anything you've got to say, any words of encouragement or advice? Yes, Lakhi Singh.
Okay. First of all, if you're already in the top 6, from what I've understood, there's a slightly bad line. And then I would say that you must be doing something right, Kath. So I think if you got a bit of a feeling or an instinct in terms of what's working, so I think you should continue down that path. And I think really where you're at now is whatever the next hurdles are. I think a lot of it is just consistency and awareness, and just using your skills now and sort of tuning them up. I'm sure those are quite basic things. So it all depends on really what the next set of tasks are that you need to win. So I think just understanding those tasks and actually understanding the parameters of them and understanding what's required of you, I think is going to be quite critical. Presumably you only got one more task left, is that right? Or you got another 2 or 3 things happening?
No, just one. So on Sunday, we find out the top 3 that go through from the public vote. And then there's 1 week left, which is just the final. So the 3 of us will be in that for 1 week. And then the following Sunday, the winner's announced.
So day 8, we will know who is won then. So it'll be day 8, right. Okay, so I was trying to do my bad impression of Big Brother there, but
it's quite a bad line.
Okay.
So I just wanted to kind of say, I know we might be coming to it near the end, but if people are watching, the voting for me is on the Biz on Fire open group on Facebook, and you just need to join that group, and then there's a live voting poll post, and literally you just click the circle near Kath, and that's it. You've voted, your vote's registered, no details needed. Takes about 20 seconds to do. So I'd really appreciate it if anyone's watching and wants to give me the support. I'd really appreciate that.
Res, I think we will always definitely, because we had Sarah on, we were avid followers of her. Now we have you, and it would be lovely to know. And you're saying a week Sunday, is that right? When we have the result?
For the final, for the result, yeah.
And what's it? Is it going to be like a Big Brother thing? You come out and you get the interview and have lots of, firecrackers and all that, or is it more something which is just local?
We've been doing it. So have you been following every week? We've had film crews follow us, and then it goes out on Stephen Green's YouTube channel for an episode for people to watch to see what we've been doing each week. So we've been doing that, and then as we go through the rounds, we go live through his YouTube channel, so he gets all the contestants up on his live video, and then he tells us who's gone through. So I'm not sure whether it'll be the same as that, or whether we'll have us, maybe they'll come to his building in Redcar and announce it, with there only being 3 of us left, ask us to do that. I really don't know. So just waiting to hear. I'll probably find out on Sunday if I'm picked. But I think I'm in second position at the minute. So
yes, that's what we've been told. You're in second position. Yeah. And Lakhi Singh, any words of advice? Because you're yourself a bit of a like a dragon in your den there in the square mile. Not that I think you're probably more of a like a lion, aren't you, or like a wild cat of the square mile in London, aren't you? You're dealing with slightly larger amounts of money and dealing with larger units of property, but I think the general advice stays the same, doesn't it? But anything to say to people? Do you have any input in terms of what is it required for someone to be the one? What do you think?
Well, to be honest, it's more dependent on what the show is about, and if I think it's a very individualistic sort of show. They're not sure about the criteria by which they're judging people, because it seems like there's lots of different judging angles, but it's not very clear to me. But I would just say that I think like I said to you, if you've got this far, then you must be doing the right thing. But if it's a property orientated task, then I would say just make sure you do your research. And obviously you got Vijay Sal and myself if you ever need to talk. We did have Sarah Brown on the show. We gave her quite a few tips. So now that you're on the show, and you're welcome to talk to us about the specific challenge you've got. And happy to give you any tips or advice or contacts that might assist you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you.
Excellent. We've got some stats that have come in, and I think the number one person is 2.8. Is it 2. Is it? Okay, so you're talking about, is it 2,800 votes? Is it, Kath, or is it
in the top? I think he's about, I think he was about 450, 460 ahead of me, like this morning before I got on. But so.
And you're only just behind him. You got about 2.3, is that right? You got 300 votes, is that right?
Yeah, so I need a few hundred to catch him up, but we've still got a few days left, I'm keep pushing.
So we've got someone who's asking for the link, so I think we can share that link. We'll get the IT to share the link on the group for everyone to vote for you, Kath. Yes, go on, Lakhi.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What are you saying, Lakhi?
I'll say the same. I'm on about, we've got about over 100,000 followers, so if you want me to put the word out, but you can DM me and we can do another.
Thing to do. Yes, I think it's very nice of you, sir.
About what it's about the show, and then also this clip.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks.
That's excellent,
Yeah.
sir. You're so kind and gracious.
If we get you, even if you get you 301 people, that could help, couldn't it?
Yeah, no,
Yes, I mean, that'd be
definitely,
great,
yeah.
You're very gracious, sir. You're very kind. You are very considerate, and we will definitely be in awe and in gratitude of your kindness, sir. Okay, it's the last few minutes. What how many minutes you've got left? Last 4 minutes. Okay, Kath, give us your summary. What do you think is going to happen in 2021? What do you think is happening in the property market? What do you think is going to, because it's obviously going to be your chosen industry. Surely you've got some input. Tell us what you think is happening in the property market for the next year or so.
I don't think this boom can last very long, if I'm honest. I think when we see things like the stamp duty and things ending, you know, they've took off the people that pay stamp duty, I think people won't be buying as much, and I think that then we'll see a drop in the property prices. That's my prediction. That's what I think will happen. If there's a boom at the minute, isn't there, and there's a lot of people buying properties at the minute, which is keeping the prices high, but come like the end of the year, I think that'll start to drop. Is that what you meant?
Okay, Lakhi, what's your input? What do you say? Is that what do you think is going to happen? Is Kath right, wrong, or she's got it wrong there? Was it Teesside? It's separate. What are you saying, sir? You're in the square mile. You've just had meetings with people in Westminster. What are they saying? What's the economy going to be like?
Okay, it's quite a bad line, so I presume you're asking me that question, yeah?
It's left, yes.
Okay, great. So, yeah, I agree with Kath. I think things are going to get very toppy, and it's going to get very choppy, and then you're going to get very floppy.
Floppy or floppy?
Floppy.
Frothy or floppy or?
Well, things are going to go downhill September, October onwards. But yes, it's not going to look very good, I think, from September onwards, because the end of the furlough and a lot of the bounce back money that's been pumped into the economy probably will run out by then. Most people would have spent it. So I think it's going to get very, very choppy and floppy.
Choppy and floppy, right? Okay, so that's what we got from Lakhi Singh. The economy is going to get very choppy, floppy, maybe sloppy, or maybe and stroppy, maybe droppy. Right? Okay, all of those things. It's not going to be good, but in neither the way we should see Kathy hopefully becoming a property millionaire. We'll be looking out for you. Remember this interview, and we will try and sell it on eBay, make some money out of you. Take care.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Lakhi Singh, thank you.